Good morning. Good morning, cubies and newbies. I am Sunshine, and this is the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. Just thank you for coming and joining me, playing with me today. This is the ABCube method. There's formula A, there's formula B. This method breaks it down to the fundamentals, the ABCs of it, as it were. If you have just formula A is 4 moves, formula B is 8 moves, and with it you can solve every Rubik's Cube, every Rubik's type cube, whatever, regardless of the size, as long as it's n by n by n. And with a minor adaptation, you can do throw a 3x3x9 in there as well. With a minor adaptation, you can solve this cube as well, without having to memorize any algorithms. It's just A and just B, and the cube itself, the A is only 4 moves. It's the easiest to learn and it's the first to learn, and B is 8 moves, and the cube itself dictates to you what the 1 row and the 2 columns have to be. So for example, if the B moves 3 cubes around, always 3 cubes around. If you look at the face of the cube as if it were a spreadsheet with columns and rows, and A uses the bottom row in the right corner, or if you were dealing with the absolute center, it uses the row and column that absolute center is on. So if I apply formula A to this from a solid cube, I would get, move it away, move the space it wants to be in down, move it into the space, and move the space in the cube back up again, and formula A for the center gives you boxes. Do it 3 times and you're back to solved. Back to where your beginning was, assuming your beginning was solved. Okay, once more. Out, down, in, up. And if you apply it to the bottom row and the right-hand column, it switches these 2 corners around and rotates them as it does. Okay, so it works with these 2 corners. It does a bunch of other things, but as long as it's multiple of 6, these are the only things that it changes. So for formula B, if you use, come back here there we go. If you use the outside, use the top row and 2 columns. If you use the outside columns, the 3 corners you're rotating, you're moving, are these 3. So if you move the top row and outside columns, you're working with the edges, with the corners. If you use an outside and an inner column, you're working with these edges. And if you use 2 inner columns, you're working with centers. And you can see what it does by doing it from a solved cube. So, all right, I'm going to do top row, outside columns, up, down, down. You'll notice for every left there's a right, for every up there's a down. It's a commutator. It only moves 3 pieces we want to move. So it moved these 3 pieces around. Okay. If I wanted to move my active color back to the top, I would use formula A. And so I'm going to bring the green back to the top. When the green is on top, you slide it out of the way to protect it and keep going with the piece that's not green. Okay. Okay, so B is going to move 3 corners around. Okay, I've got my green on the top. So I look at the sides to see what, either all of them will match, none of them will match, or one of them will match. If one of them matches, you move it to the back and do formula B. To the outside column, so it's going to move with the edges. Up, up, down, down. Okay, and then bring your active color back to the top using formula A. So when you work with the, when you work with the outside corners, you're moving the outside edges, you're moving the corners around. When you work with the inside edges, with an outer and an inner edge, you're moving the edge piece around. For example, you just pick a piece that is incorrect on the top here. Let's say that this piece is incorrect. Okay, and if I want the top row is the one I'm using, and I'm using for this piece, I'm going to use the first row is where you want it to end up. So if I wanted to end up on this side over here, then this would be my column, and this would be my column 1 and 2. If I wanted to move over on this side, then this would be column 1 and this would be column 2. To demonstrate, up, up, down, down. And if I want to move this piece over here, away, up, up, down, down, and a show again. This piece wants to move into this space, so I move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down, and that's placed. This piece wants to go over here, so away from its space. First up is where it wants to land, back, second up is where it is now, reverse, down, reverse, down. And if we, so outside edges does corners, outside and inside does an edge, and 2 inside pieces moves the edges, the centers around. So for example, up, up, down, down, and it moved this piece to here, and this piece to here, and this piece to here. So B always moves 3 pieces around. If it looks like there's only 2 pieces, there's really 3. 3 is one that you're not paying attention to because you don't see it. If those 2 pieces are centers, it doesn't matter. You're always moving 3 pieces around. The only confusion can come when the 2 pieces that you want to move are both edge pieces, and there's only 2 pieces. There's not 3 pieces to move. And when that happens, there's always 3 pieces to move. If you only see 2, the piece you don't see is the piece that you don't see. You don't see what happens. It's the quarter turn. The row itself is a quarter turn off, and so make that turn and then solve the edges again, and the parity disappears. You don't have to memorize a long parity algorithm. And when you do have to make that quarter turn, if you've already solved the edges, you have to resolve them again, which is why I keep the edges for the last, so I don't have to worry about that. So, good morning. Let's see who all's here. Hi, how are y'all doing? Hi, Doug. Hope you're having a good day. Here we go. All right. So I did both edges yesterday, so I guess that side edges and opposite edges and side edges yesterday. So I guess that leaves me with diagonals, with the centers now. So in this method, it doesn't matter. In this method, you don't have to do it in any particular order, but I generally do the corners first because every cube has corners, and so I don't have to make anybody wait while I'm getting to that step. So corners first, and then the corners dictate what the side colors are going to be. In the olden times, the absolute center dictated what size those colors were going to be because you had to work around the center. And if the center was a quarter turn off, you would get what is now called a parity, which we don't. So, for example, if I have a cube like this, where I cannot see what the colors are, if I were solving this cube and I didn't pay attention to where my center was as I was solving the cube, I'm just solving the edges first. then with the edges, you would get to a point where the edges are not placeable because you have, look at that, this one wants to be here, this one wants to be here. There's two pieces, and my formula is always move three pieces, so what do I do? Well, the third piece, again, is the one you can't see, and in this place you can see that this is a quarter turn off. Now it doesn't matter whether, if it's an odd number of turns off, it will not solve, and if it's an even number of turns off, it will. So let's say that, okay, these are the two that I want to place. So this cube and this cube, so the third piece that I can't see is the center. So I'm going to move that center, okay? And then I'm going to replace my sides again. Again, we're pretending that this is a void cube and I can't see where the centers actually are. So I'm just placing the edges. And there we go, that my edges are correct now. Now it didn't matter, did not matter that the edges were correct, that the centers were correct. It only mattered that they were an even number of turns off rather than an odd number of turns off. So this gives me boxes which can be solved with my formula A. Here's a red piece that wants to go into the red center. I move it away, down, in, up. So when you get a large cube like this, it doesn't matter which column is which way the column should be turned. It doesn't matter whether it just matters if you're moving it 1/4 turn, you're going from an odd number of turns off to an even number of turns off, and that will undo the parity. All right, so excuse me. All right, so this works on every n by n cube. All you need is A and B. A brings your active color to the top. B moves it around, moves three pieces around if they are needed. When we're working on the centerpieces, there's two types of centers. They are, Doug will tell me that there's three types. There's the diagonal centers, and the diagonal centers, and then the obliques. I'm going to call them all obliques. So the diagonals have to be settled in. You have to follow the cube. The cube's going to tell you what to do. Here's a green piece. I found a centerpiece that's incorrect. So I hold it on my face. The corner, it wants to go onto the green side, so I hold the green face up. And I'm going to do formula B, and it's going to move the three pieces around. And one of them is going to be this one of them is going to be this one. Plus centers, like a plus sign. Okay, so, all right, so we have three types of centers. There's the diagonal centers, the plus centers, and the oblique centers. I had been calling them the diagonals and then the floating centers because they can go in more than one direction. So the diagonals, the cube dictates which way you want to do it. So it's going to come and it's going to land up here. I'd rather bring my orange down than my yellow, so I'm going to line that up. That's my first horizontal move, is setting it at the top. Then this cube that I'm working with is going to go up. I have to rotate the top. I'm going to rotate it so that it's in another row, another column. So if I go this way, it's still the same column, so that doesn't work. So I have to move it into a different column. And then that goes up. That's my second up. And then I reverse, down, reverse, down. And because I've done my edges first, they keep me honest which row I'm on if I forget. So here's a white piece. So I hold the white so that white is on top. Hold the cube so white is on top. I'm going to bring down whatever's here. So there's my line up to orange. So this cube is going to land in this spot, and this cube is going to come down. But you will see that it doesn't come down into this spot, it's going to come down into this spot. So we go up, slide to a different column, second up, reverse, down, reverse, down. And so there it's at the top. So it was these three. There's always three pieces that B is moving around. And if it looks like there's two, it doesn't matter because the only three pieces are going to move. All right, so with the diagonals, it matters which way I'm going. With the pluses and the obliques, it does not matter. For example, here we go. Here's a green. Here's a green. So I'm going to bring it up to, it's going to land here. I don't want to bring a green down. I can bring down a yellow or an orange or a red. Let's not bring the red down, let's bring the orange down. Okay, so that's my top center, my top row, top turn. Then I move this piece up, and I have to move it into a different row, a different column, so I can go this way or this way. It doesn't matter which way I go, as long as I move it to a different column. And then this new column is my second column up. Then I reverse it. My edges remind me where I am. Down and down. So the pluses and the obliques can turn in whatever direction is handy. But again, the cube that you're placing, the QB that you're placing, here's a yellow one, we'll do that one. The two columns are where it's going to end up and where it began, where it's going to end up and where it began. So I move this cube up, different column. I can treat these as one if I want to. Second up, reverse, down, reverse, down. Set the top and pick another one. And so you just pick up a cube that's wrong, throw it in its direction, pick a cube that's wrong, throw it in its direction. I don't sit here and say, where's my greens, where's my yellows, where do I just find a cube that's wrong and place it. I don't have to pair things up because they pair themselves up as I place them one at a time. Okay, here's a blue. Just pick a cube that's wrong. Pick a cube that's wrong. I haven't really been part of the cubing community per se, but I've been cubing since the early 80s off and on. So that's why Doug educates me on the terminologies of things. I may not know the words, but I have broken it down into two simple steps. So I'm going to bring this blue to the top. It's going to land right here, so I'm going to make it so that something advantageous is going to come down. I go up, move it into a different column, second up, reverse, and then again my edges keep me honest with my centers, and reverse. Set the top and keep going. This is, okay, here's another blue. I can bring down the yellow, orange, or the red. Red has a blue, red has a yellow to bring into my space. So I'm going to bring the red down instead of the orange. So up, slide, up, reverse, down, and this red then. I'm going to line up a yellow to come down. Up, slide, second up, reverse, down, and so A is easy because it's only easier because it's only 4 moves. B is 8 moves, but because it's the only other thing you do, and so it's easier. You learn it just by repetition. And whatever pieces, whatever columns you're applying it to, that's what's going to move. So if I apply it to this piece, move it to the top, put my colors on top, we're going to move it up here. Let's line up the blue. So those are the two that are going to appear to switch. This one's also going to move. Up, different angle, different column, second up, reverse, down, set the top, and continue. And we just keep doing this. Here's a yellow, and here's a green. Up, up, down, down, set the top, and keep going. All right, here's a white. That means that it's going over here. So I will flip it with, here's a yellow I can bring down. Okay, line it up, slide, second up, reverse, down, and keep following it here. I can bring a red, blue, or a green down. Blue's gonna be more advantageous, it looks like. Up, slide, up, reverse, down, and my piece fell off, but you can see what I did. Set the top and keep going. Okay, here's a blue. Let me go to the red. Up, down, down. Set the top and keep going. All right. Let's move this orange. Bring this red down. Up, slide, up, reverse, down, and then these two. Up, slide, up, reverse, down, All right. Okay. Let's get this white. Let's move this yellow up into the, I've lost my pieces of sticky tack. There we go. Okay, so up, slide, up, reverse, down. So I'm always just using the top row and 2 columns for Formula B. Top row, 2 columns. For Formula A, bottom row, right column, or with the piece in the middle that you want, the absolute center. One more piece here. Up, down. Now if you just want, when you're unboxing a new cube and you just throw a couple algorithms on there just to see how the cube feels, and and then you keep going till it's back to solved. If you want to have fun, if you use Formula B and instead of using the top row, use any one of the other other rows, to see what happens then. So slide up, reverse, down, and because you have not used any of the faces, it's done nothing. So you can do slide up, slide down, and you have not done it. You've done absolutely nothing with your cube. It is the using the outside faces that actually causes movement. So la da 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 da. Do you guys have any scrambles you want me to try out? Otherwise, all right, that's my morning. I will be back here tomorrow morning to whatever you guys want me to play. I got off my schedule with my steps because anyway. Usually I'm. So that is the ABCube method. Bring me your non-cuber friends and see if I can teach them. I'm not fast. This is not a speed method. It is not a fewest moves method, but it is a quick way to reset your cube to the beginning so that you can practice your algorithms and see what they do if you do want to use your algorithms. When I'm teaching, it usually takes me 1.5 hours to 2 hours to teach a brand new beginner to solve every cube. I teach the 5x5 to my beginners, and so there's nothing and anything smaller than that is just skipping steps, and anything larger than that is just more of the same. They know what to do. So I've had the cubers can then pick up any cube and finish it from any level of solve with just the A and the B method. All right, I will bid you all adieu. I'll be back here tomorrow to play with more cubes. And so, again, I do tutor. That's why my name is ABCube Tutor. So I incorporate Zoom with my Twitch so that I can teach up to 4 people at a time, with each with their individual cubes of varying sizes. So anyone who wants to learn my method or wants to help me demonstrate my method, let me know. I'm abcube.how@gmail.com, and I will be happy to make that happen. So bring me your cubers or your non-cuber friends. All right, I'm going to say goodbye now, and I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will be back here tomorrow. Oh, Doug says I still think speed solving is more fun though. It depends on your personality type. If you like to challenge yourself, then absolutely speed solving is more fun. I'll grant you that. But for me, solving this way is calming, relaxing, meditative for me, because I can just get out of my mind. I just do the thing and it happens, and I don't have to. I've never really been into the timed things where, timed games, where it's like, quick, move the boxes before, too late. That quick, do it fast has never really, it's never really fed my adrenaline. But this, if I'm having, I'm having a bad day and you just need to get out of my, I just can pick it up and just A and B, and it's solved, and it helps me clear my head. So yes, I agree with you. Speed solving is probably more fun. I remember watching the very first Rubik's Cube competition, and I was I hadn't known that fast was a thing. But I could solve the cube, and I was treated like a genius because I could solve the cube. Strangers would stop me and say, "Hey, did you take that apart and put it back together again, or did you move the stickers?" Because that was the only way to solve it back then. So I thought I was the stuff because I could solve the cube. And it's like, oh, there's a Rubik's Cube competition. Let me watch. And everyone was faster than the eye can see. I'm like, what? And this was back with the Rubik's Cube, the old clunky Rubik's Cube. It took 2 hands to turn. You couldn't just finger trick it. And when I watched that first Jeffrey Verasano solved that first cube in Nationals in 1981, yes, Jeffrey Verasano, 23.4 something seconds, and I saw that, and I took my cube and I put it down. I was so frustrated. I didn't pick it up again for a month because I'm like, I can't do that. But another thing that people used to do back then is once you could master the cube, once you could solve it, was then it's like, well, what patterns can you do? Oh, look, here's a checkerboard. Oh, look, what else can you do? I know. And averaging under 5 seconds. I want to put an original Rubik's Cube in their hands and see how they do. When they can't finger trick it, have to slow down to turn. So, and then it's like, well, what else can I do? I can do, look at this, here's a diagonal, da-da, look. Oh, wait, here it is. Look, here's diagonals. Choo, I can do diagonals. Oh, what else can I do? I can do, what else can I do? Patterns. Still sub 20 with it. Yes. So then the thing to do was either there was patterns, and then the only other thing to do is to teach someone else. So I would have my cube, and strangers would come up to I was in junior high school, and kids would like can you teach me how to solve mine? I'm like, absolutely, absolutely. And so if you read my bio on my abcube.how page, it talks about how how the bullies had to stop bullying me so that I could teach the cube to them. So knowing the cube literally is how I survived junior high and high school. I have a friend who does the fewest moves challenge. I taught him, and he became a speed cuber, and then he switched to the fewest moves challenge. So he opened that up to me. So this is not the fastest, it's not the shortest, but I've only failed at teaching one person. I've taught everyone else that I've ever tried. Within about an hour and a half to 2 hours. My sister is the only one that couldn't learn. She's like, nope. She's just could not focus. She's like, no, I'm sorry. It just isn't for me. And I'm like, okay. For a fewest moves challenge, you got a personal record single of 34 moves. Wow. I think I know the God number is 20 moves, right? And that's not the short. So the regardless of what it is. Oh, one of those 20 moves is the super flip. Is one of the ones that does take 20 moves to do. So and then people started buying 100 cubes and making collages out of them, montages, bits, something like 80%. Yes, 80% of the random scrambles are optimized in 18 moves. So it makes the super flip is one of the most difficult scrambles because it's 20 moves. All right, okay, this has been fun. You guys all go out and have a great day. Have a wonderful day, and I will be back here tomorrow. Thank you for coming to see me. Bye. And stream.